Hello, everyone. It's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. I ran into this article and I thought it was pretty funny, so I thought maybe I'd make a video about it. This article said study says Americans can't fully adopt EVs until they stop putting everything but cars in their garages. Because 80% of EV charging is done at home, and home charging is most easily done in a garage. Now, there are lots of people that charge their EVs in their driveway, but then there are reports of people getting their charging cables cut and vandalized in their driveway. So it's safest to charge in your garage. But this was a recent study by Craftsman and Stanley and Black and Decker, and they said that more than a third of American garages are so unorganized or so full that they can no longer park any car in there, and most garages are like partially full. Like people that have two-car garages, they're only parking one car in there, or maybe people have three-car garages, they're parking one or two cars in there. And I have to admit, I'm just as guilty. I have a three-car garage, and I can only fit two cars in there. One part of the space is full of like workshop stuff, bicycle stuff, sporting stuff, just storage of stuff. Um, so that is a problem because if you and then there's some people, and I've seen them in my neighborhoods, and if you drive around your neighborhood, you're going to see them too. They'll have a two or three car garage, and there's not a single car in their garage. They have all their cars parked in the curb or in their driveway, even though they have a two or three car garage. And it's very emblematic of how Americans live. Like by house size, I always assumed that we had the largest houses, but we don't actually. The largest houses in the world are in Australia at 2,300 square feet. And then next is New Zealand at 2,174 square feet. And America is actually third. So this actually surprised me. I thought America would be number one in this aspect. But no, Australia has us beat by a good margin. And New Zealand has us beat by 10 square feet, which isn't much of a margin. And then the next is Canada, which that made sense because I mean Canada is very similar to America. But then if you look at average home sizes in other parts of the world, you'll see that average homes are way smaller. Like in Germany, it's 1,200 square feet. In Japan, it's 1,000 square feet. In Italy, it's 870 square feet. United Kingdom, 800 square feet. 800 square feet in America would not, like most people wouldn't even consider that to be a house. They would not consider that to be a full house. And then in China, 650 square feet. India, 500 square feet. Hong Kong, a little under 500 square feet. So, I mean, 500 square feet, some people have master suites that are bigger than that in America. So, this is quite large, but I always thought that we'd have the largest house. So, the other thing that's really interesting about America is even though we have the third largest houses in the world and we're filling up our garages with stuff, we also, 1 in 10 Americans use storage. 1 in 10 households use a self storage unit. And the amount of self storage there is in the US is very large. Okay, here it is. It, okay, so there are in the same president, it was said that storage facilities account for 2.47 billion rentable square feet of space in the US. Put another way, there are 88.6 square miles of self storage in our country, nearly three times the size of Manhattan. That, so, again, recapitulate. Third largest houses in the world. Garages are full of stuff. We're using three times the size of Manhattan on self storage on top of all this. So that's crazy. Why is that? Because our consumer spending is crazy. Look at consumer spending by country. We're number one at almost $19 trillion a year. Next is China at $7 trillion a year. So America has about 5% of the global population, and we account for about 30% of global consumer spending. Um, Whereas the other countries, their percentage obviously is less than their percentage of population. because someone has to do less if we're going to do um, 6 times more than our population share. All right. So yeah, I thought I kind of knew about these statistics of our consumer spending and how we like to use self storage. I just didn't think about how it would be an impediment to EV adoption. Now, for Aptera, this doesn't matter so much because Aptera you probably wouldn't want to keep in a garage because then it wouldn't charge with the sun. So maybe Aptera is like the perfect car for Americans. But for most Americans, we probably ought to make a little space in our driveway for cars. And this really hit home because recently I had to spend an entire day helping my parents clean out their garage because they bought, and this might shock some of my longtime viewers, at I suggested to them that they should buy the new Juniper Model Y, and that they did. So they bought a new Juniper Model Y, and in order to charge it at home and to park it in their garage, we had to clean out a bunch of junk out of their garage. So I spent a day helping them clean out their garage so that it fits their new Model Y. And so I'm going to check out the Model Y. If you guys are interested, let me know in the comments below. I'm going to check it out. And there's various reasons that I recommended it to them, and I'll tell you why if you guys are interested in a video about that. All right. Anyway, I thought this was kind of humorous and funny that our kind of love affair with stuff was impeding our adoption of EVs. But no, now that this I saw this article on Reddit, it makes sense. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if you guys want to hear about the Model Y. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.